Morning, good afternoon, and evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us at the first ever Traditional Medicine Symposium. We're very pleased to welcome you all in the region of Asia and Pacific, where a lot of the traditional medicine is actively used. As part of this initiative, we have been working on development of the traditional medicine ontology, and we would like to progress this work and widen the discussion about the various areas of important considerations that we would like to include in the international release of SNOMED International at some point in the future. At this point, we would like to show you what will our agenda look like. So, okay. Now it's okay. Okay. All right. We'll start with a brief introduction on the work that has been happening so far in the area of traditional medicine development in SNOMED International, followed by a series of presentations by presenters from various countries looking at their experience of traditional medicine application in their areas. We will have a short break and we will follow it with further presentations, and then we will have a joint discussion where you can have extended questions and answers as well as any other topics you would like to cover. With this, I'll hand it over to my colleague.
Thank you. Okay. Welcome, everyone. When early this year, Liara asked me, should we have a meeting about traditional medicine in Seoul? I said, oh, I was going to ask the same question because she is responsible for this region. Because traditional medicine have been well practiced in different countries in Asia Pacific, and in particular, traditional practitioner facing the same patient, as a biomedical practitioner. And although those are based on modern science, and the traditional medicine has its own context, the traditional philosophy and the concept and the logic, those are different to the biomedicine. And I think this is a good opportunity we can be together to talk about the different development and in different countries and to see what we can do and to work together. And first, I would like to provide a quick introduction about the work, as Liara mentioned, done in the international level. So the initial stage about this project is really to look at the traditional medicine and how to, from the infrastructure-wise, in SNOMED to organize those concepts into the current system. And also, we're not intended to cover all. It's really just start at the high level because knowing where to put the content first and then gradually increase about the coverage. And in particular, we need to work with experts. So we have experts from different countries, from Korea, China, Malaysia, and Japan. And so they provide feedback on the content, what should be covered, and in which way. And also within our SNOMED International, we have Jim Case, Rory, and Liara work closely to do the work. I think most people familiar with SNOMED already knowing all this top level concept in SNOMED. So clinical finding, so really is talk about the clinical symptoms and diagnosis. And however, there's very limited, almost no coverage about traditional medicine. And the procedure and the regime, we do have some concept cover, for example, the traditional medicine and the therapy that is available, but not detailed specific procedure had been performed. And body structure, and surprise, when I was looking at the SNOMED, I said, oh, I found acupuncture point. And when I look at the back history, actually, those come from GP practitioner in UK, and some use the acupuncture point and then say, okay, this should be recorded, and that come from CTV3, the terminology that merge into SNOMED. Then look at the medicinal product. This is really I would say it could be the biggest area for the medicinal product, and that is unique, different from the medicinal product in the modern hospital and based on biomedical science. Physical object, and so basically what device being used, the acupuncture needle as an example. And observable entity, I think, is only just relevant when you think about record architect, and you want to capture that information, not only just the answer to those questions. For example, when we talk about pulse characteristic of, and then this actually you can have value against this observable. And similarly for the tone, the observation of the color and the coating. Then the qualifier value is a kind of a collection of different concepts that being used for different purpose. It's a kind of mixture. There are some relevant concepts covered, a very small number. The last one actually is the new one. We're going to talk about in more detail. It's really about represent the concept, theory, and the logic from the traditional medicine perspective. And so that means these are unique compared to the other hierarchy in common shared across whatever the medicine you're in. So when we start to say, okay, where should we put the content, and how do we organize this? From an infrastructure point of view, in SNOMED CT, we organize those by module, and based on each module, you can combine them together, build up an edition for the release. So that is the most common infrastructure we already in practice. And however, think about traditional medicine. This development cannot be done by one single organization, and different countries have different requirements. And this means there's a potential across different modules, and you have international content cover small portion and at high level, and also have an extension. For example, in the country Korea, you have an extension can work on all the Korea medicine. Specific for those purpose. And that extension could be shared with other country, because nowadays people moving around the world, and it's like a concept called a global village, and we are living in a big village. And so the medicine actually not only practiced in Korea, and similarly traditional Chinese medicine is not only practiced in China. And so this is what we see, there's opportunity to share those content, not only just within the country, actually for the community, the global community. And we also trying to build up called a traditional medicine module that is in the community area. This is what I will talk about. You can share with the whole community rather than just within your country, because the other module most likely is in your country, so it's only within your country you can have good control about content, what's in and out. And the community area actually have more content shared to all. On top of that, you can build up a different, we call it sub-ontology. So that means you can choose and pick the content are really relevant to your practice. And you don't need to say this has come from which country and which module and which part. As long as in SNOMED CT, actually you just pick those, think, okay, I like this, and this is what we use in our practice. And then you can put that together, use our software we already developed, and generate a sub-ontology, basically become a mini small terminology just for that purpose. One example is GPS, Global Patient Record. We produce the sub-ontology, and we call it a GPS terminology. So that gives you the not only just the term and concept ID, actually it's all the modeling. You just like a real terminology, SNOMED CT terminology, entire terminology, but only the relevant content you needed. Not only just look at the infrastructure, we look at also the model. Basically say, okay, we have this pattern diagnosis, kidney yin deficiency, and how should we represent this concept? And this concept actually is based on the different characteristic that is foundation part about the theoretical entity, organ system. And organ system is different from the pure anatomical system because in the traditional medicine sense, the organ system is based on functioning and not exact map to the anatomical structure. So when we talk about kidney, most people say, oh, you're talking about the two kidneys in the body. Actually, from traditional medicine view, it's more than that, much more than that. And so we represent as a unique theoretical entity. You can have a link to the anatomy, the kidney, real kidney, but also this actually truly represents the conceptual, the context of the traditional medicine. So that's why I call the kidney system. And then we have this deficiency, and that is a characteristic. And then we have the yin and yang, that is also unique in the traditional medicine. Those are in the theoretical entity, if you look at the semantic tag there. Then we say, okay, all this can be used for modeling a pattern. So we have a pattern as the base concept. Then we have the different characteristic and put them in a kind of model and define this concept fully. And so this is the definition of how the kidney yin deficiency look like when we do the authoring. And then we can use the classifier in SNOMED. We say, okay, based on this definition, what would be the result if we run the classifier? And the classifier would tell me, okay, you said this is the pattern, and you have different characteristic. And then the classifier identified two parents, not only just say the pattern, as we stated, as a yin deficiency pattern. Okay, so this is actually sub-concept of yin deficiency pattern. And then it's also a kidney deficiency pattern. So you don't need to manually to looking for the parent, which one is closest. Actually, based on the characteristic, based on the model, you can automatically generate this hierarchy. And in this way, reduce the maintenance burden and also improve the consistency of representation. So this is what it looks like in a hierarchical view. The bottom is the concept we use as example. Kidney yin deficiency, if you look up and you got the left-hand side and kidney deficiency pattern. And the kidney deficiency pattern go up to the kidney pattern deficiency pattern. And from the other side, then you look at yin deficiency is a subtype of deficiency pattern, also yin pattern. And this is all subtype of pattern. So this is what is like in the polyhierarchical structure in SNOMED. And this is different from the ICD approach because ICD is a classification system. And they want, this is based on the classification principle. One would be only have one parent because you want to make a statistic, say this is belong to which class, and fixed and not change over the time. But clinical terminology is different. So we have this polyhierarchical structure. And we don't need to manually maintain all of this, just really based on the, what I mentioned, the concept model to generate this hierarchical structure. As I mentioned quite early on, we have the infrastructure in place, and we also develop the pattern and the concept model for it. And also we include the key kind of theoretical entity to support the concept model. And then we think, how do we package this together and make it available? So the sub-ontology is one way to do it. And top two is, as I mentioned, the pattern and the theoretical entity as a key component. And also, I choose the International Patient Summary, IPS terminology. So this is free to all. And then we put the content you are interested. For example, you're interested in skin finding, infection diseases, the joint pain, and those subtype, and don't need, so that cover joint pain, for example, cover all different joints as pain. And in this way, we have the intersection, a small number of content relevant to the practice. So this is just an example, and you can generate different, the conditions that are applicable to traditional medicine, because we have large content in the clinical finding in SNOMED CT. And this is also different from the approach to SAD, because SAD treated disorder treated by traditional medicine doctor is different to the Western medicine. This is what we say is actually practitioners are looking at the same patient. It's a cough, it's same for to see a traditional medicine doctor or see other doctors. So this is why we reuse all the clinical finding or procedure, because these are same. But the unique concept like pattern, theoretical entity, we need to create for the SNOMED CT as a unique entity for traditional medicine. And also the third part of this sub-ontology would include the different type of thing, as I mentioned earlier on. SNOMED CT is ontology, follows the ontological principle. We're not put everything into one folder, say this is the traditional medicine concept. Actually, we based on type to organize the content. They are separate into separate hierarchy, but you can organize it in the sub-ontology, aggregate them, rather than you say, give me a folder, this is everything, and include it. So this is what it looks like in the browser, in the sub-ontology ontology browser. There's a hyperlink here. Those are open. You can see that by following the link. We have, based on the specification I gave just the previous slides, and that cover about 2,800 concepts. So body structure, we have about 1,000 concepts being covered. Of course, if you look at SNOMED CT, the body structure is a huge number, but relevant body structure based on the concept, for example, a joint pain had been included, knee joint pain, and that knee joint structure would be included in the sub-ontology because it's a part of a concept model. And then we look at the clinical finding, and in particular, the pattern diagnosis. Pattern diagnosis really is different from diseases one, so we put that as a sibling to the diseases. And this is a traditional medicine diagnosis. And then you have the body constitutional pattern, and you have the, based on the Qi deficiency and meridian, as a different type of pattern. And as I demonstrated the early model about concept model for the pattern. So this is how the sub-hierarchy has been organized. And then go to the last one, is a theoretical entity. This is unique for traditional medicine. And it's this concept, the pattern and the theoretical entity, it's not relevant to a biomedical practitioner because they never come across this and make no sense to not meaningful to them. But for traditional medicine doctor, this is an essential concept you can use in the clinical record. So that is why this actually to filter out things you don't need it, but keep the things you need for your practice. I think that covers all about the concept and the project we have been doing. And we will have a question and answer answering in the later on before we finish the break. Thank you all for your attention.
And with that, we're pleased to introduce our first speaker, Byung-Won So, who's a doctor of Oriental Medicine at Kyung University Korean Medicine Hospital in Seoul, in Korea.
Thank you. Good morning, experts from all over the world. I'm Byung-Won So, as you see, Kyung University professor from the Kyung University, and I'm a Korean medical doctor. So I think our project can dedicate the foundation to communicate each other. So we are focusing on how we can communicate with how we can communicate evidence based. Because we make some CPGs and we are focusing on the clinical situation. So let's start. Yep. Yeah, my presentation today will proceed in this order. In Republic of Korea, the development of nation-led large-scale evidence-based clinical practice guidelines for traditional Korean medicine began in 2016. This initiative is currently being carried out as part of the National Research and Development Project for Innovative Technology in Traditional Korean Medicine. As of 2021, clinical practice guidelines for 32 diseases have been completed. Additionally, guidelines for 9 diseases were finalized in 2022 and 4 more in 2023. Currently, as of 2024, guidelines for 22 diseases are still under development. Clinical practice guideline of Korean medicine refers to documentations developed through an evidence-based methodology that systemically integrates clinical, academic, and theoretical foundations aimed at providing standardized information for medical practices based on the theories and knowledges of traditional Korean medicine. This encompasses a series of healthcare services, including prevention, diagnosis, treatment, rehabilitation, and management. The following is a list of 32 diseases for which CPG for Korean medicine were developed by 2021, and this is the foundation of our project. This is the rest of the list. Yeah, we extracted the clinical practice terminology from the previously listed 32 disease CPGs. Clinical experts in each disease who received SNOMED CT mapping training organized the meanings and classification of the terms before conducting the first mapping. The mapping results were subsequently reviewed by SNOMED CT experts, and the second mapping was performed using both pre-coordination and post-coordination methods. The mapping results from both diseases experts and SNOMED CT experts were compiled. A library was developed consisting of a total of 9,175 terms, which include 2,716 terms classified as not mapped, as well as terms mapped as equivalent, broad and narrow, as a rule of the SNOMED CT International. So we have named this library SNOMED CT KM version 2023 because we have the name for between our researchers. So at this point, we need to seek solutions for the 2,716 traditional Korean medical terms classified as non-mapped. So in the process of traditional Korean medical treatment, various types of data are collected from across different stages like that. So in outcomes of diagnosis, the traditional Korean medicine pathology is assessed as Gao Yongsheng said. So this is the summary of our project. Many traditional Korean medical terms share similar or identical meanings with the conventional medical terms, so suggesting a high potential for interoperability. Examples of such terms include SLRT, headache, or HB grade, and common cold like that. SNOMED CT is a terminal system that encompasses terms across all areas of health and facilitate mapping based on their meanings, so making it easier to map traditional Korean medicine terms. particularly for terms related to symptoms or disease in traditional Korean medicine that may have somewhat unclear definition and distinction because we use Korean, Chinese, and English all together in single situation. As a result of the mapping with the SNOMED city concept, we organized the traditional Korean medical terms that could not be mapped into distinct area of meaning and categorized them as follows. As the Gao said, we are focusing the how we can map our herbal medicine terminology into SNOMED city because we have to make some standards to communicate with each other in the traditional Korean medicine field, also conventional medical field because we have to use it in the digitalized fields. We explore which sub-concepts within the top 19 hierarchical structure of the SNOMED city could be newly modeled for each classified area, and we think now we have to focus and feel focused to encompass with the Gao Yong-seng because he made another hierarchy. So. This is a suggestion of novel SNOMED city that our project team make. Let me explain using the example of prescription names. Currently, individual prescription names such as names can only be broadly mapped to herbal medicine product for now. But however, the strategy involves adding traditional Korean medicine as a branch concept on the pharmaceutical and biological product or medicine, and then adding each individual prescription as name as a sub-concept. Now, let's discuss herbal medicine names. It means herbal medicine names refer to ingredients in prescription. So, such as 1G at present, these can only be broadly mapped to herbal medicine agent substance. So, we can, in some cases with a specific origin, thus we can map into the organism. So, the strategy here is to add the names of each herbal ingredients used as medicine under pharmaceutical biological product, followed by a division into categories such as plant origin, animal origin, and mineral origin, because we use that several kinds of subcategories. Physiological terms include the concept related to the normal physiology, physical and mental stage of the individuals, such as 진액, which refer to the body fluids, 신대비소, and 소양 in constitution. Currently, most of these terms cannot be mapped thoroughly because, however, the strategy is to add new concepts under the subcategory of observational entity within SNOMED city top level concepts, and we have to move to the Gao Yongsheng. Yeah. Pathological terms include concepts related to disease such as 습열 and 식적, as well as terms that describe pathological states, and such as 수기능심 and 신양어, as he said earlier, it means kidney yang deficiency. For these concepts, it is possible to add a new branch under the pathology semantic tag of the qualifier value axis and include the sub-concepts within it. And he already, I have to repeatedly say that because he already made it. Pathological states can be added as sub-concepts under the pattern branch of the finding semantic tag within the clinical finding axis. While traditional Korean pathology terms were previously unmapped in SNOMED CT, we have observed that some have been newly added under the pattern branch in the SNOMED CT traditional medicine community content. The concept of traditional Korean symptoms for differentiation are similar to those in conventional medicine, but there are numerous nuances that differ. And many instances where two or more symptoms are combined into one. As a result, most of these concepts cannot currently be mapped into SNOMED CT or can only be broadly and narrowly mapped. So since these are clinically observed symptoms, the strategy is to add them as sub-concepts under a separate branch of the finding semantic tag within the clinical finding axis. The observation of symptom is complemented by examining of the tongue and the pulse, and we'll talk later. The results of the symptom observation, along with the tongue diagnosis and pulse diagnosis, culminate in differentiation name and unique disease names in traditional Korean medicine. Most of these concepts cannot currently be mapped to SNOMED CT. However, some have been confirmed to be added with a pattern branch on the clinical findings in SNOMED CT traditional medicine community content. Differentiation names can be viewed as outcomes of clinical observation or as diagnostic concepts. Therefore, the strategy involves either adding them under the pattern branch of clinical findings or introducing a separate pattern branch under the disorder semantic tag with the clinical finding axis. Traditional Korean medicine questionnaires such as QSCC, that is for the pattern identification for the Sasan constitutive medicine, are proposed to be added under the assessment scale semantic tag within staging and scales. Additionally, traditional diagnostic instruments such as constitutional type analysis devices are to be included under physical objects. Currently, various traditional Korean treatment techniques now we can say about the interventions that are not included in SNOMED CT will be added under the procedure axis. Since the Republic of Korea already has an established classification system for traditional Korean medical procedure, and we already have some projects to map our Korean classification of intervention into WHO HUFIC each. It is feasible to incorporate these in a top-down manner. So the treatment sites encompass concepts such as acupuncture points, meridians, and extra points, and various body systems, because we need these kinds of the target regions other than acupuncture points, because as you know, we use chuna like chuna. As you know, chuna is different from the manual therapy, because when we map that kind of physical therapy into SNOMED CT, we use some kind of the anatomic region like joint, but we have to but when we use the chuna for the treatment treat our patient, we focus on other than the joints. So we have to get more anatomical target like meridians or extra points or 경근. It means meridian muscle region. So. Currently, I said earlier, various treatment methods that are not included in SNOMED CT can be added as sub-concepts under the action subcategory of qualifier value, or as sub-concepts under each type of procedure. As an example, let's examine the observation of the pulse. Which is one of the critical elements in the 4 examination methods: inspection, inquiry, listening, and palpitation in traditional Korean diagnostic practices. In this context, the term pulse is used in English. However, in traditional Korean medicine, it refers specifically to 맥상, pulse pattern. So, the pulse pattern represents the forms of the pulse, encompassing the sensation of the heartbeat felt by the fingers during palpation. It includes concepts such as frequency, rhythm, fullness, smoothness of flow, regularity of beats, and wave amplitude, and is not merely equivalent to the concepts of pulsation or rhythm. So, Pulse diagnosis involves palpating the pulse to observe the pulse manifestation and gather necessary data for differentiation. By observing changes in the pulse at point where the arteries are superficially located, this method serves as a representative diagnostic technique for assessing the health status and diseases of the body. The primary focus is on radial pulse, and the most commonly used technique is Tungu Maximboff, which examines the pulse at the three positions of the radial artery. In addition to examining the pulse qualities such as floating, sinking, slow like that, notable pulse manifestation included 28 distinct forms can be categorized accordingly. So, thus the term Mach pulse can be modeled under the observable entity axis, while Mach pulse diagnosis and its various methods fall under the procedure axis. With different pulse manifestations classified under clinical findings, allowing for the creation of separate substructures. Through this approach, we can see that traditional Korean clinical terminology can be modeled under the existing subcategories or through new subcategories established within the top 19 hierarchical classification of SNOMED CT. While this may require a significant invest of time, as he said, as he dedicated earlier, Republic of Korea has already made considerable efforts to establish classification system and various database for traditional Korean medical terms and practice, especially the I think we can give some examples of the how we can classify the classical traditional medicine interventions. By utilizing existing data in a top-down approach and collecting clinical terminology data through numerous disease-specific CPGs in a bottom-up manner, we can create an ideal structure for traditional Korean traditional medicine, SNOMED CT contents. Yeah, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For any questions, just to remind, we'll have a discussion afterwards. Thank you for your presentation. Our next presenter is Mr. Kumar, who is a doctor of Siddha and at the Center of Council of Research in Siddha, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, located in India. Over to you, Mr. Kumar.
Hello, good morning to everyone. This is Dr. S. Kumar, domain expert from the Central Council for Research in Siddha, Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Now I am going to present about integration of Siddha concepts into SNOMED City to improve the Siddha healthcare delivery. It's enhancing healthcare delivery through the structured technologies. This is my phone number and email ID. Introduction. What is Siddha medicines? Traditional system of medicines hailing from South India, especially Tamil Nadu. Holistic approach to wellness and healing focuses on prevention, treatment, and maintaining balance. Why standardization is important in modern healthcare? Diverse medical systems needs interoperability. Standardized clinical language helps integrate traditional system like Siddha with modern medical practices. Challenges in Siddha medicine technology, unique terminologies in Siddha. It's very difficult to document hormone points like vital points, diagnosis, treatments, and outcome accurately. Need to integration with modern systems. Siddha data not easy translatable in health information systems. Gap in research, analysis, evidence-based comparisons. Introduction to SNOMED City. What is SNOMED City? Systemized nomenclature of medicine clinical terms. Comprehensive clinical terminology system used worldwide. Framework for documenting medical information in a interoperable manner across healthcare settings. Why SNOMED City is key for Siddha medicine? Enables structured, standardized documentation, facilities communication, data exchange, and research between traditional and modern systems. Benefits of adopting SNOMED City in Siddha medicine. Enhanced documentation, clear, precise documentation of Siddha diagnosis and treatments. It promotes better patient care and continuity, improved communications, unambiguous language fosters collaboration between Siddha and modern healthcare providers. Integration into health information systems. It supports seamless data transfer and interoperability. Aligns traditional Siddha concepts with modern medical records. Role in Siddha concepts in SNOMED City. Siddha concepts, specific terms related to Siddha diagnosis, treatment, and procedures, coded with the SNOMED City for global recognition, promoting research and knowledge exchange, comparative studies between Siddha and modern system become easier, facilitates epidemiological analysis and cross-system collaboration. SNOMED City and data analytics in Siddha medicine. Structured coding system allows systematic data collection and analysis in Siddha practice, enables practitioners to track disease patterns, treatment, effectiveness, and health outcomes, enhancing research and quality improvement initiatives. Data-driven insights foster evidence-based practice in Siddha, helps identify trends and improve protocols. Mapping Siddha technologies to SNOMED City. Process of mapping, identifying equivalent modern medical terminologies, customizing new concepts for Siddha specific diagnosis and treatments, advantages of accurate mapping, avoids ambiguity in documentation, enhances clarity in clinical workflows and patients' records. Research opportunities through SNOMED City integration, potential research areas, comparatively effectiveness studies between Siddha and allopathic treatments, epidemiological analysis of disease patterns in Siddha medicine, evidence-based validations of Siddha treatments using modern research frameworks, how SNOMED City facilitates research, standardized data collection supports large-scale studies, enable sharing of research across healthcare systems. Impact on healthcare delivery. Standardizations improve patient outcomes. Unified clinical language across systems improve quality of care. Informed decision making through integrated data. Promotes interdisciplinary collaborations. Siddha practitioners and modern healthcare providers work together efficiently. Enhance patient care through holistic evidence-based approaches. Training and capacity building for
Siddha practitioners. Need for training. Siddha practitioners needs to familiarize themselves with SNOMED city. Cross training between modern healthcare professionals and Siddha practitioners. We have to do collaborative learning program from the government initiatives, university programs, and workshops for education, certification programs in integrated medicine. Central Council for Research in Siddha under the Ministry of Ayush, they have taken so many initiatives related with Siddha terminologies. They are AHMIS, that is Ayush Hospital Management Information System, Namaste National Ayush Morbidity and Standardized Terminologies Electronic Portal. Another one is Searchai, Siddha Encyclopedia and Android application for research community and healthcare institutions. And finally, CCRS, Central Council for Research in Siddha, Tamram Sanatorium, Chennai. Collaboration with NRCS National Research Center for EHR Standards, Pune. They completed the first project, National SNOMED City Extension Project, first phase. It started in October 2020 and completed in October 2023, 3 years. With 14,695 Siddha terminologies. The outcome of these projects will be very useful for Siddha practitioners, academicians, researchers and scholars, etc. Conclusion. The summary. Integration of Siddha concepts into SNOMED city is a pivotal step toward standardizing Siddha medicine, promotes interoperability, enhances research and improves healthcare outcomes. Future applications. Widespread adoption of SNOMED city in Siddha medicine well advances global recognitions and practice. Improved healthcare delivery for patients through comprehensive and standardized care. Acknowledgements. I already told that these are the team completed the SNOMED city projects along with the NRCS. I submit my sincere thanks to Professor Dr. N.J. Muthukumar, DG, Director General CCRS, Dr. M. Kannan, Principal Investigator RO Siddha, Scientist CCRS, Dr. P. Satyarajaswaran, Assistant Director Siddha, Scientist for CCRS, Dr. P. Tenmuli, RO Siddha CCRS, Dr. S.G. Muralidas, RO Siddha and Ministry of Ayush, Dr. A. Lavanya, Emergency Medical Officer, NIS Chennai, and myself, Dr. S. Kumar. Mrs. Manisha Mandri, Joint Director, NRCS, and officials of the NRCS and EHR Centers, CDAC, Pune. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kumar. With that, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Menchong Gong, who is the CVP and CMIO at Digital Health China Technologies, located in China. Over to you, Dr. Menchong.
Thank you for your introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's happy to join the traditional medicine forum, because in this forum we learned that the standard, especially semantic control and vocabulary control, is important for development of any fields in medicine, and we need to work in collaboration with different countries and different languages actually to improve this. And I'd like to introduce the work we've done in China. It's traditional Chinese medicine is a huge system, so any work has to be done piece by piece. So thank you for sharing the experience of what you are doing in Korea. It's a really good lesson to learn. Recently, we are promoting data standards for healthcare in China even more vigorously. It has been done in the past several years, but with the collaboration with SNOMED International and other data standards organizations, we are working on it, especially after the release of the global initiative of digital health by WHO. We published this article in China. This is a picture, a graphic abstract for the picture. It's illustrating the challenges and solutions of China's digital health, in which data standards is a very important part. Actually, we've been publishing articles on this for continuously in recent years. This is an article we published on Lancet Regional Health in 2021 on what lessons we learned about healthcare data standards during COVID in China. So we developed a lot of artificial intelligence solutions in China, but didn't succeed in migrating that to other institutes after the development. That's the major reason behind that was the lack of data standards inside the country among institutes. So this is a very important lesson we learned during COVID. This is another system we built for a city among the pandemic. You can see we gather the data together and do the standardization in a center. So that's the way that's the thing you have to do before you make good use of your data. And this article was recognized as the best paper by IMEA in 2022 and was awarded by WHO in 2020, I believe it's 2023 or something, to be a good example for using data and data standards to promote public health management inside one city or among the region, in the region. So these are all the work related to why do we need the data standards for better data management. So traditional Chinese medicine is just a part of our healthcare system. Well, majorly, we rely on the Western medicine system, but China has a huge existence of TCM. Every county, based on our government regulations, has to have a special TCM hospital. So it's a kind of a parallel independent medical system in our country. So now we are also introducing SNOMED CT and other data standards to the TCM. So we know SNOMED CT is the global language, and I previously was in the board, and now I step out. But we do believe that this promotion of SNOMED CT in different fields of healthcare is important. So we, with the support from SNOMED International, we initiated this training of our medical students in Guangdong. So Guangdong is the largest province of traditional Chinese medicine also in our country. So we are working closely with the Guangdong Provincial traditional Chinese medicine hospital, which is the largest one in our country, with a size of over 4,000 beds. They are a huge hospital. So to promote the data standards. So let's come to the theme of today's talk is what we are doing there. So China has been working on the science transformation of TCM for many years. You know, we wanted to use the research methodology of modern medicine to do studies on TCM. Like we wanted to do clinical trials on medicinal products from TCM, or we wanted to do real-world studies on our TCM patients so as to validate the treatments or therapeutic procedures. But if you don't have like standardized data, it's very difficult to do this, especially when you are talking about TCM. You are dealing with a very detailed difference in their herb medicine or in their treatment, in the language, in the textbook. So especially in China, we have different systems, like education systems under TCM. So they are following different teachers and different institutes. So it's very important to address this before you do anything like data sharing. So so these are the challenges we are facing on standardizing the data, especially the work I shared today focused on how do we standardize the slices of the herbal medicine. So you see, for that, it's very important to address the information about planting, harvesting, processing, and actually the season. So it's very interesting information behind all of the systems. So, and you need to address this in your standard system so as to gather the data from different hospitals and different pharmaceutical offices, and then you can do the real-world study. So we have this national knowledge base, which is a very standard textbook for, or not textbook, but like a national government document for our traditional Chinese medicine, herbal medicinal products. So we use this published knowledge base to build up the standards so as to help the hospitals to do data standardization. This is a very difficult choice because we have many different textbooks, and as I say, we have different institutions and different systems of education. So in the end, we chose this because this is our national standard. So it's kind of some philosophy behind this. You need to find a authentic document in TCM, but because there is different institutions arguing between each other. But why do we need this? And the major support or the major target is to use this standard to standardize the clinical data from our TCM hospitals, because we have a huge existence of them, and they treat patients, and they have EMR, and they generate data. But it's not like in what the work has been shared by Korea. I can tell you have like already a system for doctors to use. In our TCM hospitals, they have EMR, and in the EMR they don't have standards. So nothing has been done on the TCM texts. We shared. I saw a talk after me, and we may have some standards, but it's not implemented in the clinical practice. So it's still in a very early phase that Chinese hospitals are extracting like do the NLP or extracting some study results from the texts the TCM doctors are writing. So this is just for medicinal products. It's more for how do we standardize the basic data elements in our treatment. But we believe all the other work that our Korean colleagues has done would be very helpful to learn for us also. We define the field and scope, and trying to figure out if there is any thing that we can reuse, like the national standard or something, because we do have a large standard organization in our country. They release a lot of standards, but it's sometimes it's far away from healthcare IT systems. You know, the experts, when they produce standard, they don't consider much that if it can be implemented or if it's like following the international best practice. So you can find the standards, but you don't necessarily use it. So then we define sorting the terms and build up the hierarchies and follow other like class properties, effects, and create the instances. So this is a whole system to build up the standard and then use it to standardize the real world data. So we work closely with the hospital I mentioned, Guangdong TCM Hospital, which is the largest one in our country. And hopefully we will produce some examples for other hospitals to learn, and so as to build up the basics for real world evidence generation on TCM, because that I believe is the only way that we can produce scientific support to the TCM. So this is the national document, and so we use it for production of the standard, and then we do the knowledge acquisition from the open publications, that open knowledge bases we can find, so as to populate the attributes. Actually, how do you define the attributes is something difficult, because this is something new, and we organized a group of experts, TCM doctors, TCM pharmaceutical officers, and also our pharmacologists working inside the TCM hospitals, and also the standards experts, so as to try to build up a system that collect all of the attributes that are with interests or relevant to the pharmacologists or real-world data studies, researchers inside in the field of TCM medicine. So you can see, we use the 19 top-level concepts of SNOMED CT because we are not member country, so we cannot do like RefSat or extension. So we have to learn the methodology, but use it in a new way to develop it. This is a waste of. I think it's a waste of resources, but you have to do it currently in this field, in this way. But still, you can see the cheese flavors, meridians, and from medicinal thing, and also symptoms and the properties and diagnosis. So these are the attributes, and we have others, and so how do you build up combine all of them together to define your slices? So which is the basics for you to make a therapy or a combined treatment for the patient. So these are the important terms, and then we define classes and hierarchies. So you can see we are using the tools and methodology of SNOMED CT, and you can see the original plants, processing method, toxicity, meridians, contrinic indications, 5 flavors, 4 qi. So these are all the attributes that we discussed with the pharmacologists inside TCM hospitals. They think it's important for the further studies to generate evidence on TCM. So this is purely for the scientific transformation of TCM, because we are now generating a lot of real-world data, so we wanted to use that, but we are in lack of the basic data elements and standards. So whether we can use this standard to implement that in a TCM hospital and standardize the data, this is a very important question for us. So you see the attributes, and we populate all the attributes with the existing data. So you can see this is Chinese herbal medicine of Jiang Huang. All of the attributes are populated, and so with this, because Jiang Huang is just one component of a large therapy regimen. So you have to define the basic elements, and then you can standardize the whole therapy, because the different doctors use this for different doses and different times for adding it, or a different way to process it. So it's very interesting. You have to define all those other things, but back to the herbal medicine itself, or the slices of the medicine itself, you have to define a standard. So it's quite good progress, and we are working with the best TCM hospital in our country. So they also have a large information department. So of course, in the past, they are more managing on their EMR packs, because in TCM hospital, they also have large existence of modern medical services. But now we are working with them more on the TCM things. Like this is the progress, and we've built up some use cases, like how do you use these standards to define different treatments for different symptoms and different diseases. So you can see, and also how do you do statistics for the medications you're using? These are all something new in our real-world statistics, and I hope we can make more progress after we standardize data from more hospitals. Now, Guangdong is our largest one, so we are also working with Beijing, Shanghai, so they have the provincial or city level TCM hospitals. All of them are like at least over 2,000 beds or something, very large hospital. So they have a lot of data, so we can work with them and see. Of course, also it supported like a large language models for the Q&A and some basic questions answering for our patients. So 119 classes, 25 object attributes, and 5 data attributes, 9,136 instances. So yeah, it's quite a good progress, and we also got a patent recognized by our national government. So this is a very difficult one because that's the innovation patent. It's not like innovation for like development patent. So it's not like for your design or appearance or something. It's for the technology. So it's a national patent, and also we are working with Guangdong Hospital, TCM Hospital, to generate a group standard. So this is more like regional, and it will be escalated to national, hopefully in the future. You can see it's for purely for the slices, the herbal slices, which is the basic, actually the fundamental elements of our herbal medicine. So that's the start of everything. Yeah, these are the teams. Tao Tao is a TCM medicine student, and after she graduated, she joined my team. And Jala is a medical informatics specialty students, master also. And yeah, they are working together for this work. And thank you very much. Thank you again for Liara and Yongsheng for your consistent help to me and to our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gong. And now we have an opportunity to explore some of the questions the audience may have, as well as expand the discussion further. So I would like to invite our speakers of today who are present in the room to take the podium, to sit at the front. And I think that Dr. Kumar is currently not available online, but if he joins, we will also invite him to the discussion. So please. For those participants joining this session online, we would like to encourage you to put forward your questions in writing in the chat on Zoom. Thank you. Okay, please feel free to ask any questions you may have.
So I have a question for myself. So wonderful work. I can see that's a very nice way to start an ontological development. I have received a lot of insight, so thank you so much. I have a question is how long it took for you to come up with at least the number of hierarchies that you have shown at the last, and the number of attributes that have been there. And how did you manage to work with only 2 team members? So that's the question, and how much time it took. Yeah.
Thank you for your question. It's actually quite interesting that we got the patent first because it's too new in China. There was nothing. So those two, my team members, they developed that and they submit the patent application, and then we got it, which was quite surprising. And then we published an article. And then we worked with a hospital, went to the hospital, and then at that time, I understand. Okay, the attributes design was not quite not scientific enough. I mean, doesn't fitting the needs of all the pharmacologists inside the TCM hospital. So we used half a year. The major time was spent on organizing the experts from different backgrounds to come together to define the attributes. So that was very important because we are from information background, and I personally was a Western medicine doctor, so I know nothing about TCM. So what we designed was not necessarily to be agreed by them, and they have many other attributes they are interested in. Like, for example, like how do you process it? The herbs. It's like you use fire, or like you use wine or something. So it's very different ways to process it. So yeah, preparation. Yeah. So yeah, almost half a year, and then we use another 1 month or something to populate that. It's easy after the designing of the structure, and then it's easy. Yeah, yeah. But I believe the next step would be implementing that standard in other hospitals. That will take us more time because you have different words and vocabulary, because we don't have that in the past. So now we're building a new one. It will take some time to do that. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think it's a question for all of you, but we have a question online here. How can we keep integrity of traditional medicine and at the same time integration with modern medicine? So I would be interested to hear all of your opinions. Perhaps Dr. So, you could take first turn.
Yeah, I think this is the ultimate purpose of these projects, and we anyway for everyday program, everyday practice, our patients want to take some. They don't think they do, this is the Western medicine or Eastern medicine. They just want to get the appropriate cure. So we have to provide. We have the right to provide this the cure. So in this point, the integration means the coordination with the Eastern and Western doctors. So, but in the field of the digital science, there is no difference between them. So we focus what we use what we use to communicate with our patients and other doctors. So from our project we can little conclusion. We can get a little conclusion that it is not easy. It is not difficult because as I said earlier, if we can use the SNOMED, there is almost all terminology, and if we can add some more access or meaning hierarchy. It is not so difficult to communicate because patients can get diagnosis from the Eastern doctor and Western doctor, and they can get correct decision from the doctor about their personal health status. So this kind of project from the GAO and me and Chinese and India can contribute to it. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you. This is a very interesting question. I'd like to share a story with you. When I was in the front line, batting COVID 2022, 2020. It was quite dangerous time, and no one knows what will happen. So I was in the front line working with the doctors in the cities by Wuhan, and every morning they gave us a bag of TCM, like drinking. So it's prepared by the local TCM hospitals. That was the first time I got so much mental support, psychological support from the herbal medicine I'm drinking. I feel good. I feel protected. I felt protected whenever in the morning I drink it. So this is the time that I get the first-hand feeling of how it's functioning on us. So it's helpful. It's a science, and it has been working like for several thousand years for Chinese people. So we have to understand what's going behind the whole science. So we started to work on from the data side. So I believe the integrity of TCM and the modernization of that we'll have to follow the way of evidence-based. It's not so now we are trying to generate evidence. For example, why I was feeling good. I was feeling good was one thing, but is that really helpful to me or to a large population in protecting from the disease? We don't know it. But we do have a clinical service system which has been built, and they are using EMR to digitalize everything they're doing. So we need to provide them the way to standardize their data, to generate evidence from the real world practice, and then to probably generalize the evidence or practice to larger hospitals in order to first hand is to persuade people persuade people that this is true science, and the second thing is to also standardize the clinical practice in lower level TCM hospitals, because it's too individualized, too personalized, and you have to give each person a different therapy, but the basic elements are the same. We have to go down to the most granular basic elements, so as you can do different combinations, but I know what elements you are using. So at the end of the day, we may provide a way to get the evidence and to support the science transformation of TCM.
Yeah, as Tulip already touched on the quite important aspect about clinical practice, because the patient choose some therapeutical medicine or go to see physiotherapy, and there's a lot of choice there. And which medicine would be suitable for certain condition? Actually, that is most important to choose the right one. And of course, as mentioned about, not only just patient feel better, it's about the evidence, and this is why the standardization and terminology, we're trying to really pin down to the detail. So you have a clear record about what pattern diagnosis in the traditional medicine and what is the diseases diagnosis for the condition. So in the long run, we have the record to see the efficiency and all the different type of treatment are suitable for certain conditions. So in the past, we always just based on people, how they feel about the treatment. And more, the scientific approach is to look at a large quantity of data and to collect those as evidence. And that means that we have a better integration about the care, no matter it's a traditional medicine or it's a conventional, and only based on the need and the efficiency. And that means critical, we get the data right, the terminology right. And so we are talking about, we know we are talking about the same pattern in the traditional practitioner area. And for the conventional doctor may not aware of those pattern diagnosis, but it doesn't matter because they look at it from their aspect, how to treat a condition.
I do want to add one last point is, the technology is developing so fast, and they may provide a new way for us to solve these problems. For example, we recently have a study of using the retinal vascular imaging or images, and you can predict the kidney functions. So it's like the machines can link something. Of course, it's relevant. It's related to each other, but it's something. It's totally in different systems and different organs, but it can actually predict very accurate EGFRs based on the retinal images. So we believe the development of the technology will provide a higher computation power and also extraction of the hidden information behind all these things, but with the basis of data standardization and data collection, data sharing. So this is the basics, and you have to provide a good foundational support, infrastructure level support, so as to support the development of new technologies for better healthcare on the TCM side. Yes.
Thank you very much. We have another great question online. Can we develop comprehensive framework in SNOMED CT which can cover clinical terminologies from different traditional medicines? So the question is about the common ontology for various traditional systems. We'll start with Yong, because it's an easy question, right?
Actually, I don't really know the answer. It's a really big challenge, and because if you just look at quite a lot of similarity in Korean medicine and traditional Chinese medicine and Japanese. So that's why in the WHO publication on Asia Pacific and trying to consolidate that all together. And so people practice in this traditional medicine, they understand and communicate to each other. Although there's still variety and some difference, but you can take on your part of terminology from the common framework. But that is only look at the similar approach. But look at the Indian, not only just one, quite a few different traditional medicine. And also this part of the traditional medicine different from the biomedicine, conventional medicine based on the scientific evidence and physiology, pathology. Traditional medicine more about the theory and more about the understanding the life. And so there's a lot of theory behind it, and that is a foundation. And to represent those in a single framework, to me, is really challenging. It's almost impossible in a way, because maybe we use a similar term and energy, but energy actually means differently in different traditional medicine, and even look at the conventional medicine. So this is why we're not really trying to say fit everything into one thing. And my personal view, of course, I want to get more discussion and on this topic, is to look at the key difference first, because something unique, and just like traditional medicine, if you have that unique thing, we try to represent those. Then we gradually to find that common understanding, and rather than say we have to build a framework at the beginning, say this is the only solution, everyone have to fit into this framework, but actually to look at the unique aspect of one traditional medicine. You represent that, so therefore you can use straight away. And then we can look at the common thing. And in particular, if we want to look at the herbal medicine, and the material being used, and what research has been done. So those actually could be shared. Maybe not share everything, but quite a different, similar approach, or the framework could be reused.
Yes, I do agree with Gao, and if I can say some more technologically, so I think we have to focus the classification itself, because the traditional medicine, regardless of it is what it is from the China, Korea, India, I think the ultimate characteristics of the traditional medicine is the tailored medicine itself. So it means we always focus on the human itself. So the diversity isn't that inevitable. So it's inevitable. So the classification can make us communicate each other. I think that he and me and you did look do not look like, but we can think we are all the human because we do have the two eyes, one nose, and one mouth. So I think that is that is the kind of classification. So because in the respect of the intervention classification. We focus on the target, action, and means because through that we can define what is the intervention and what is the purpose. So we can write down on the EMR. So next step we can communicate each other more scientifically. So I think this kind of SNOMED cities mapping rules and the hierarchical suggestion can make us more progression possible.
Yes, I agree with the experts that so to design or to develop a standard, the target is or the purpose is to share the data. But actually, for traditional Chinese medicine, we follow different education systems, different textbooks. We're using different languages and inside different cultural environments. It will be quite difficult. Or when you share the data, they cannot use that for practice because it's totally new, totally different. So it's not like medicine itself, like Western medicine. You have the standard guideline around the world, and when you share or the standard lab tests, procedures. So I would say the methodology of SNOMED CT, the whole systemic design and methodology mapping rules are useful for each TCM to develop their own standard for procedures, for diagnosis, for medicinal products. And that can be used inside the region or the country. But combine everything together would be totally, and difficult, and I don't, the purpose would be difficult to define, and what do you use it for? So I understand WHO defined some, incorporate something, TCM things in traditional medicine things in the ICD-11 and trying to help different countries to share the information. Yeah, that's a important step, so as to that we can talk to each other and share the basic information. But for the basic implementation inside the EMR of each countries according to the practice, I think we need to develop our own standards.
That's great discussion. I think we've come to the end of our allotted time, but after the break, we'll reconvene and we'll be welcoming more presentations, followed by more Q&A discussion. So please prepare your questions and don't be shy. We're here for the day. Thank you. See you soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second part of our session today. We have the pleasure of inviting the Professor Haiyan Li, the Director of Institute of Information on Traditional Chinese Medicine, China Academy of Chinese Medical Sciences, located in China. Professor Li, over to you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Haiyan Li from Institute of Information on TCM, China Academy of Chinese Medical Science. I'm very glad to attend the meeting virtually. I will give a brief introduction of the development of traditional Chinese medicine terminology. It is very well known for the medical terminology system such as SNOMED CT, UMLS, MESH, and a mainstream disease classification system, SAD11. Corresponding to this terminology system, traditional Chinese medicine also has major terminology systems. For example, TCM, CTS. The full name is Traditional Chinese Medicine Clinical Terminological System. TCM-LS, Traditional Chinese Medicine Language System, and the TC-MESH, Traditional Chinese Medical Subject Headings. And SAD11 also has a supplementary chapter on traditional medicine. So here I will give an introduction of traditional Chinese medicine clinical terminology system. We developed an ISO standard, ISO 19465. The title is Categories of TCM Clinical Terminological System. This standard was published by ISO in 2017, and the standard specified the hierarchical categories and descriptions of TCM clinical terminological systems, including the first level and the secondary level hierarchies. This table is the description of first-level hierarchical categories and the statistics of concept in traditional Chinese medicine clinical terminology system. TCM CTS, that is the terminology system, consists of 18 categories in the first level hierarchy. Symptoms and sign, disease and pattern. 4 examination objects. TCM operational approach, cause and mechanism of disease, theory and experience, therapeutical principle and method of treatment, Chinese medicinal, body system, staging and transmission, TCM internal substance, environment or geographic location in TCM, TCM equipment and device, unit of measurement and qualifier in TCM, linkage, medical case record structure, phrase and qualifier value. This is the 18 categories in the first level hierarchy. In China, the use of traditional Chinese medicine might account for 15%. SNOMED CT cannot cover all medical scenarios. Based on this requirement, TCM CTS was developed, which might be used in conjunction with SNOMED CT. The system was established by the Institute of Information on TCM affiliated with the China Academy of Chinese Medical Sciences from the year 1994, and the first version was published in 2010. And in 2018, we re-established TCM CTS based on ISO 19465, which aims to achieve the ambiguous expression of TCM clinical terms through the logical expression of concepts and provide solutions for the sharing and exchange of TCM clinical terms. TCM CTS contains over 45,000 active concepts, whose distribution is shown in this figure. The number of concepts in the first level hierarchy of Chinese medicinal reaches 1/3 of the total number of concepts, and it is the largest hierarchy among all the first level hierarchies. Secondly, the number of concepts in the first level hierarchy, environment or geographic location in TCM accounted for 23%. The number of the concepts under the first level hierarchy, theory and experience, accounted for 11%. The total number of concepts under the mentioned three first level hierarchies amounts to almost 74% of the total number of concepts of TCM CTS, which is quite different from the distribution of SNOMED CT concept. The different distribution characteristics of the number of concepts of first level hierarchy in TCM CTS and SNOMED CT show the two different practices in TCM and Western medicine under different diagnosis and treatment systems and guiding theories. The TCM CTS adopts the logical definition model of concept, a standardized model of concept definition, by establishing a clear correlation between concepts that include vertical up-down or 一直 relation and horizontal semantic links between concepts. Each concept is assigned either an 一直 relation or a semantic link between concepts or both, which allows the system to represent the hierarchical and associative relationships among concepts in a domain. In comparison to a single descriptive definition, the local definition can ensure the clear meaning of terms, accurate concept granularity, and less ambiguity in the clinical use of TCM. TCM CTS makes a dual definition of every concept, namely descriptive definition and logical definition, in which the needs of TCM clinical application and knowledge reasoning can be fully met. A descriptive definition is to express the concept connotation through words. The logical definition is to express the concept connotation by logical relations, by sorting out the connotation of each concept and term. The graphical representation of the logical definition of Siemens strychnine is taken as a classic example. Siemens strychnine is a kind of materia medica. The descriptive definition of Siemens strychnine, mature seeds of strychnos family. It is a plant effect include dragging, collaterals, and relieving. diffusing nodes and reducing swelling, clinically used for the treatment of injury, fracture, swelling, pain, rheumatoid, numbness, paralysis, ulcer, and sore toxin, swollen, sore throat. This is the descriptive definition of semen strychnine. And the logic definition of semen strychnine is, for example, semen strychnine is a Chinese medicinals. It's a relation, and other relation include has fever, bitterness, has property, warm, meridian distribution, spleen meridian of foot, 太阴, meridian distribution, liver meridian of foot, 厥阴, has toxicity, strong toxicity. So this is the description. This is the logical definition of semen strychnine. Semantic links of concepts. Semantic links of TCM-CTS mainly refers to the semantic relationship of SOTS 17938. This standard was published in 2014, and this standard was published by ISO TC215, Health Informatics Semantic Network Framework of TCM Language System. These semantic links among first-level hierarchies are arranged by triplet form, namely domain, semantic link, and range. For example, decoction pieces has a meridian distribution with collateral channels, and the formula consists of decoction pieces. Traditional Chinese medicinal products also consist of decoction pieces. Decoction pieces has flavor, has property, has toxicity. And the Chinese medicinal granular is product of decoction pieces. Decoction pieces is processed product of traditional Chinese medicinal materials. This is the illustration of the semantic link of the concepts. TCM-CTS has some applications. The first application is extraction and reconstruction of hierarchical relationships as needed. TCM-CTS can extract a class or several classes of terms according to the actual demand, and reconstruct the hierarchical relationship of terms driven by certain scenarios. The second use is implication of mappings with other terminology systems. We also developed the mapping between ICD-11 TM chapter in our system. The mapping relationship between TCM-CTS and ICD-11 has been implemented in our system. The third use is semantic retrieval function of traditional Chinese medicine clinical terminological system. Based on the logical definition of TCM-CTS, the descriptive definition of terms is formalized in triple form, and the terms can be retrieved at the semantic level. For example, if a certain pattern needed to be retrieved, according to the logical definition of syndromes, that is, cause pattern, location occur pattern, pathogenesis cause pattern. Therefore, the pattern can be searched from multiple dimensions, such as the cause, location, etiology, pathogenesis, and symptoms of the pattern. In conclusion, TCM-CTS constructs a knowledge organization system covering all TCM clinical-related terms, established a logical definition method of concepts, and provides a basis for subsequent semantic retrieval and knowledge reasoning by referring to ISO 19465, which helps to realize TCM clinical data cleaning, standardization, structured storage, sharing, and utilization. However, there are still some limitations in TCM-CTS. For example, the logical expression of terms can only be expressed through triplet, which cannot complete the more complicated expression of term semantic links and the automatic construction of new concepts, self-logical expression. Our team will continue to focus on expanding the coverage of TCM clinical terminology resources and enriching the service model of the terminology system in the future. The second terminology system is traditional Chinese medicine language system. The short term is TCM-LS. We developed a ISO standard ISO-TS 17938. This standard was published in 2014. The title is Health Informatics Semantic Network Framework of Traditional Chinese Medicine Language System. We developed the traditional Chinese medicine language system according to this ISO standard. This is the website of our system. As you know, NLM developed UMLS. The purpose of UMLS is to help to understand the language of biomedicine and health. So we think how to understand the traditional Chinese medicine language. So we developed the method thesaurus and semantic network of traditional Chinese medicine language. TCM-LS is the largest terminology integration system in the field of TCM. There are 19 vocabularies in this system. We integrate these 19 vocabularies and include 100,000 concepts. And the second version was released last year. The semantic network consists of a set of broad subject categories or semantic types that provide a consistent categorization of all concepts represented in the TCM-LS metathesaurus, a set of useful and important relationships or semantic relations that exist between semantic types. There are 96 semantic types and 58 semantic relationships in our system, also in this ISO standard. This is a screenshot to illustrate the semantic relationship structure and the semantic types structure. The third terminology of TCM is traditional Chinese medical subject headings. The short term is TCM mesh. TCM mesh. The principle of TCM mesh is similar to mesh developed by National Library of Medicine. This is the website of TC mesh. You can register in this system and you can search the subject headings. For mesh, we know mesh was developed by National Library of Medicine and used for indexing, cataloging, and searching for biomedical and health-related information and documents. Mesh includes the subject descriptor appearing in Medline or PubMed and other NLM databases. Mesh provides a consistent way to find content with different terminology, but the same concepts. Mesh organizes its descriptors in a hierarchical structure so that broad searches will find articles indexed more narrowly. The structure also provides an effective way for searchers to browse mesh in order to find appropriate descriptors. So TC mesh has the same principle to mesh. So our institute developed TC mesh early in 1980s. Now TC mesh achieved indexing, cataloging, and searching of Chinese articles related to TCM. With the growing maturity of TC mesh, a national standard has been published in 2021. The title of the national standard is Guidelines for Establishment and Development of Traditional Chinese Medical Thesaurus. TC mesh has been used by many authoritative literature databases in China, like CNKI database, Wanfang database. The data was updated once a year, so the latest update is in 2023. Now there are 13,000 entries in TC mesh and 8,848 subject heading in TC mesh. Now in TC mesh we have subject headings, subheadings search, and tree browsing. So we have three ways to search. Also, each subject heading has the visualization. This is the single subject heading visualization. For example, 大黄 has several entries, including 川军、锦文、将军, etc., and they can be coordinated with administration and dosage, adverse effects, analysis, blood, etc. Finally, I hope to introduce the terms pool we made for ICD-11 traditional medicine. We know ICD-11, which contains traditional medicine chapter, was adopted by the 22nd World Health Assembly in 2019. ICD purpose and uses is allows the systematic recording, analysis, interpretation, and comparison of mortality and morbidity data collected in different countries or regions and at different times. Also ensures semantic interoperability and reusability of recorded data for the different use cases beyond mere health statistics, including decision support, resource allocation, reimbursement guidelines, and more. ICD-TM complements the classification systems, names and codes of disorders and patterns of traditional medicine, ensures semantic interoperability and reusability of recorded data for the different use cases beyond mere health statistics, including decision support, resource allocation, reimbursement guideline, and more. Based on ICTM, we developed a bilingual traditional Chinese medicine terms pool. The count of concepts is 533. Chinese and English synonyms terms 918. Semantic relationships between concepts are 3,525. The terms pool including traditional medicine disorders, traditional medicine patterns. The mapping set between ICTM and TCM-CTS was established in our system. Just now, I gave an introduction of the terminology systems we developed. So in the past 20 years, the development of traditional Chinese medicine terminology has basically followed the development path of medical terminology. In the real world, medical terms and traditional medical terms often appear in a medical scenario and are used together in essence. In the future, it is necessary and urgent to build a mapping set between them in all aspects. Finally, thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Lee. Our next speaker is Taylor Yin, a Senior Principal Assistant Director at UF54, Head of Policy and Development Section, Traditional and Complementary Medicine Division at the Ministry of Health, Malaysia. Over to you, Taylor Yin.
A very good day, everyone. Today, my presentation is on the development of terminology and information system for traditional medicines in Malaysia. Malaysia is a multi-racial country with majority of its populations is Malay, followed by Chinese, other Bumiputra, and Indians. This is an overview of Malaysia's health system. Traditional and complementary medicines is mainly focused in private sector. The definitions of TNCM in Malaysia is a form of health-related practice designed to prevent, treat, or manage ailment or illnesses, or preserve the mental and physical well-being of an individual, and includes such practices as traditional Malay medicines, traditional Chinese medicines, traditional Indian medicines, Islamic medical practice, homeopathy, and complementary therapies, but exclude medical and dental practices used by a medical and dental practitioner respectively. The Malaysian government supports the integrations of TNCM into our national healthcare system. The national policy of TNCM stated that TNCM shall be an important component of the healthcare system. It will coexist with modern medicine and contribute towards enhancing the health and quality of life of all Malaysians. In 2018, the Malaysian government published a national TNCM blueprint to facilitate the regulations, integrations, and developments of TNCM industry so as to contribute optimally to the national healthcare economic and social cultural goals. In Malaysia, TNCM consists of 7 recognized practice areas, which are traditional Malay medicines, traditional Chinese medicines, traditional Indian medicines, including Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, naturopathy and yoga, homeopathy, chiropractic osteopathy, and Islamic medical practice. As of September 2024, we have around 12,000 registered TNCM practitioners, which majority of them are traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, followed by traditional Malay medicines and Islamic medical practice. The provision of TNCM services in Malaysia is mainly divided into public and private sector. In public sector, selected TNCM services are provided in public hospitals, and it is integrated with modern medicines and offered mainly at outpatient setting. It is limited to specific TNCM therapies and indication as per practice guidelines. No walk-in is allowed, and it requires referral from modern medicine doctor. Patient medical record capture both modern medicines and TNCM diagnosis and treatment plan. The clinical documentation is either in paper-based or electronic forms depending on the type of facilities. The documentations are mainly free text with no disease classification or coding done for TNCM diagnosis. These are the hospitals with TNCM services, and these are the services and indications currently offered in the public hospitals. For private sector, TNCM services are mainly offered at the primary healthcare setting and at outpatient setting. It is not integrated with modern medicines. We allow walk-in, and referral for modern medicine doctor is not required. For the clinical documentation, it can either be in paper or electronic forms. Patient medical records capture relevant medical history in modern medicines and TNCM, and diagnosis and treatment plan are mainly based on TNCM. The services are mainly out-of-pocket expenditure with limited coverage under private medical and personal accident insurance. In Malaysia, any higher education institution intends to offer TNCM courses need to comply with the TNCM program standards developed by the Malaysian Qualification Agency and obtain provisional and full accreditation. We have a total of 14 institutions offering various TNCM courses in Malaysia, and all of these are private institutions. Various efforts have been taken by the government to facilitate the incorporation of TNCM into the National Health Information System. And it is mainly focused at the facility level and also SMRP, which is the Patient's Treatment Information System. I would like to explain a little bit on the Malaysian Health Data Warehouse, MyHDW. MyHDW is a national health information gathering and reporting system covering all government and private healthcare facilities and services. Big data analytics, AI, GIS are utilized to manage huge volumes of structured and unstructured data. MyHW is a solution developed from various applications equipped with a web portal that enable access to the data and informations at any given time and permission. This diagram shows some of the key features of MyHW. At this point of time, the NCM data is only incorporated into SMRP. As mentioned earlier, SMRP is a comprehensive medical treatment report system linking all hospitals in the country. It provides systematic method to collect granular data and clinical information, including inpatients, outpatients, procedures, TNCM, and clinical support, etc. As of now, the TNCM data captured in SMRP is limited to public hospital with TNCM services, either by manual entry or export directly from hospital EMR. The data compiled is mainly used on counting TNCM services and encounters with no TNCM diagnosis information captured. The Ministry of Health is currently working on enabling nationwide reporting of TNCM diagnosis using SMRP. For example, for chiropractic and osteopathy, the diagnosis classifications and also the coding will mainly based on ICD-10 or ICD-11. Whereas for traditional Chinese medicines, it will be based on ICD-11 TM1, traditional Indian medicines based on ICD-11 TM2. For other TNCM modality that do not have existing disease classifications or standardized terminology, we intend to capture the free text diagnosis to provide as a database for future developments or standard developments. What we plan right now is to kickstart the pilot testing and to conduct user acceptance tests in the public sector, which subsequently will be rolled out to the private sector. This diagram shows the process involved in enabling SMRP for traditional and complementary medicines reporting. As of now, we already completed the user requirement for SMRP to capture TNCM relevant data that is not limiting to public sector, but also suitable for private sector setting. And we are now doing the training modules for ICD-11, TM1, and TM2, and also conduct pilot project using manual coding and reporting. This is a screenshot of a hospital EMR that enable traditional medicines diagnosis information being captured based on ICD-11 TM1. For training modules, we already developed an online learning platform on ICD-11, which is inclusive of ICD-11 TM1 modules using local language. However, for reference manual to guide the coding exercise, it is only available on Western medicine's diagnosis. Based on the pilot project conducted, we noticed that standardized TNCM diagnosis facilitate communications with the modern medicine practitioners and promote mutual understanding. We also noticed that sole compilations of TNCM diagnosis provide limited information on how TNCM contribute in disease management, especially if the national disease burden is classified and analyzed based on modern medicine diagnosis. Therefore, we intend to enable double coding for Western medicines and TM diagnosis, and also to state the primary and secondary TM diagnosis to enable more meaningful data collections and analysis. There are several issues and challenges faced when it comes to developments of terminology and information system for TNCM in Malaysia. This table shows the 7 recognized practice areas for TNCM in Malaysia. For traditional Chinese and Indian medicines, we can base on the disease classifications and terminology developed by WHO. For chiropractic and osteopathy, we can base on ICD-10 or ICD-11. However, for traditional Malay medicines or Islamic medical practice, we need to develop our own national standards and classifications. This is because these traditional medicines is very unique to our own country. The second common issue faced is on poor documentations or non-standardized documentations, and this create the risk of misinterpretations, and the data is not able to compile, compare, and analyze. For TNCM data in Malaysia, is mainly at the patient level, which is facility-based, and we have absence of population-based TNCM data. The way forward to resolve this issue, including established national reporting system for TNCM, to integrate TNCM into national routine health information system, to facilitate the transitions from paper-based to electronic medical record, to develop standards and specifications for TNCM such as minimum data set, to develop national standards for TNCM that is unique to Malaysia, including the disease classification and terminology, and the most important is to have continuous capacity building activity to improve clinical documentations. With this, I end my presentations. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation, Telin. Now we have a pleasure of inviting our next speaker, Manisha Mantri, scientist at E&Co Investigator of National Resource Centre for EHR Standards at CDAC, Pune, located in India. Manisha will be presenting in person. Over to you, Manisha.
Hello, is it on? It's on? Yeah. Hi, good morning, and I will be taking you all through the Ayush terminology development that is being led by the National Resource Centre for EHR Standards in India. So just to give you a background, traditional medicine, of course, plays an important role in primary, personalized, preventive, and palliative care. And I think this has been talked from the morning. So in India, the 5 important traditional systems of medicine have been recognized by the government of India. Those are Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy, all combined called as Ayush. First letter of all the systems of medicine used to call Ayush system of medicine. And India's being largest producer as well as exporter of medicinal herbs for traditional medicine, we have a lot of importance, and there are a lot of traditional medicine related practices followed in the country. And of course, similar to the contemporary medicine, it is very complex. It involves multiple concepts to describe health records and health related activities in general. So just talking about the Ayush initiatives, Ayush has been practiced for over centuries in the country. However, to kind of look into the patient-centric view of healthcare delivery and to formalize the development in Ayush systems of medicine, it was formally structured in India way back in 1978. With 1995, we have the Department of Indian System of Medicine formed. Then Department of Ayush being established, and a separate ministry for Ayush being established in 2014, focusing on research and initiative, particularly in the Ayush system of medicines, and trying to see how can we bring in more evidence-based care, more clinical research, and more ways to document clinical information and prove the efficacy. That's the major motive towards it. And it has also been mentioned and emphasized on national health policy. And recently in 2022, we have the Global Center for Traditional Medicine being established by WHO in India. So this is the overall, I would say, the breadth of Ayush network. We have around 7,55,000 Ayush registered practitioner with more than 3,800 Ayush hospitals and 36,000 Ayush dispensaries. We also, if you can see, there are more than 39 Ayush informatics cells being established across 35 countries where Ayush medicine has been practiced. So there is a global presence as well. So I will be talking about AUS terminology today because in the 5 systems of medicine, yoga and naturopathy shares concepts which are in Ayurveda, and the homeopathy shares many of the concepts from the contemporary medicine. So we have been focusing on these 3 terminologies to start with, but we have long way to go to look after other systems as well. So a few of the information I want to share about these 3 systems of medicines, and I've received some queries also in the morning to know about Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani. So Ayurveda, to start with, is one of the oldest medicine systems developed between 2500 and 50 BC in India. It covers multiple health concepts, including diseases, conditions, symptoms, causative factors, dietary, lifestyle, medicinal plants, minerals, which are used for treatment. The original terminology is written in Sanskrit, in Devanagari script. One example written there, it's the Nidan 1 of 11 of the Charak Samhita. It's one of the foundational book which explains concepts related to Ayurveda. The terms are also written in multiple Indian languages and dialects and scripts, like a few examples mentioned here: Jwara, Tapaha, Adhika Jwaraha, and in different languages and dialects. And there are frequent use of abbreviations. Few examples noted here. And the Ayurveda doctors also use modern terminology, sometimes as synonyms to the Ayurveda concepts, like nausea being very normal term and being used. So it's complete mix of terminology utilized when Ayurveda treatments have been given. Coming on to Unani terminology, it's the system of medicine pioneered in Greece and is based on ancient traditional systems of medicine from China, Egypt, India, Iraq, Persia, and Syria. The literature is available in Arabic, Urdu, and Persian languages. It also has multiple clinical concepts like logic, philosophy, basic theories, including factors of existence, structures of organ, functions of organ, and so on, amongst other. The example shown here is one of the traditional therapy, which is cupping therapy, used in Unani, and the explanation provided, I won't go into details about it. In general, corneal ulcers can also be kind of documented. On Siddha terminology, Siddha is also one of the oldest regional traditional systems of medicine in India. We just listened to Dr. Kumar in the earlier session today morning. The literature is in Tamil language. It's in the form of poems. They're called as Padal in Tamil. The terminology is again broadly classified into core concepts of Siddha systems of medicine, including structures and functions of organ, diagnosis, finding materials, medicine used, and so on. One of the example which is typically from the Siddha medicine mentioned here is the right ear energy channel. It's called Atti. It's one of the 10 energy channels located in the right ear, and the other being diabetes mellitus shown over here. So I'm really not an expert in Tamil, Sanskrit, and Urdu. I'm just trying to explain how complex it is, just to give you an example of the complexity of the terminology. So, and why do we need standardization? Of course, we want to reuse data in different clinical settings and care settings, and use it for clinical research and evidence-based care. And definitely there's a need of a controlled, hierarchically ordered clinical terminology, which can be used for searching, classifying various data and in the traditional systems of medicine. And unambiguous representation of Ayush terms is required for data standardization and interoperability used in various informatics systems. And of course, SNOMED has been adopted as a common terminology in India. So for us, the obvious approach was to try to utilize the existing clinical terminology and try to see how can we extend it for traditional medicine. And yes, there is an overlap between the subject field, like body structure is itself can be reused, clinical findings, organism, substance. These are the few hierarchies which can be directly utilized for the purpose and ensure there is an interoperability between Ayush as well as the contemporary systems of medicine. And how do we map with the existing code system? So those were the questions. That's where standardization comes in. And of course, we want to represent the unique concepts and logic which are used in traditional medicine into the way the SNOMED city is structured. So this is the work so far that we have completed. We have released India Ayush extension. This work was done over the period of 3 years, where we have, in this, to start with, we targeted to cover the existing SNOMED city content, and we try to create the language reference sets for those concepts. By end now, we have around more than 3,300 Ayurveda concepts translated in Sanskrit, and more than 13,000 concepts in Tamil for Siddha, and 15,000 concepts in Urdu for Unani. This work was done in collaboration with Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, Central Council for Research in Siddha, and Central Council for Research in Unani Medicine. This is how the extension looks like. It depends on the international edition, and we have the extension currently released with we've tried to cover the true translation to the language reference set, where even the defining relationships are being tried to be covered. They're not complete though, but that's what was the approach. And we'll talk about the next step. We have long journey to go. There are a number of things that we want to cover and we wish to cover. So we have this content development plan for traditional medicine, where we want to model and create concepts which are specific to AUS terminology. And currently we're focusing on Ayurveda to start with, but Siddha and Unani are the next to go. We also want to standardize the Ayurveda drug codes because that's the next immediate step that we want to do. We have the common drug codes for India already developed as extension to SNOMED city, and it's been widely used and adopted in production systems in India. And we want to see how can we also support Ayurveda drug codes in our National Digital Health Mission drug registry portal over there. Apart from that, the ICD-11 TM2 is already going to be out in January. So we want to see that we have an interoperability and mapping with what we are doing in terms of terminology to immediately start with. So that's also in the discussion phase. We also want to systematically evolve the system and see if we can create maybe Ayush subontology as the next step. Currently, it is in extension state, and we are not sure, but possibly we will need multiple sub-ontologies to be created for each system of medicine, based on understanding how much is the overlap and how much can we reuse. And of course, maintenance and upkeeping is the task that is ongoing. We also are trying to see if we can develop certain use cases to demonstrate the effectiveness of the clinical terminology that we are developing, and convince the user base that this is something that should be adopted. So certain use cases we are trying to work on. This is how we are looking at the Ayurveda terminology hierarchical structure that is going to come with certain mapping with SNOMED city and few more hierarchies or sub-hierarchies to be created, particularly for the supporting concept, for advices and recommendation, where lifestyle advices are the major part in Ayurveda, Ayurveda medicinal product, which also may be a separate sub-hierarchy or a hierarchy within SNOMED structure, and some core principles and certain procedures to follow. This is how we are looking after the concept modeling for Ayurveda concept definition, where the terms which are important from Ayurveda system of medicine are to be covered, which is Sanskrit Devanagari terms, which will be mostly preferred terms. Then IAST terms, which are important for data translation, data exchange between the systems, and possibly a nearest meaning English synonym, because we may not get the accurate English synonym to the concept representation. That was being discussed by the expert in the multiple forums out there. And of course, the definition and category, I mean the proximal primitive parent. This is how the concept framework would look like, where we will have the concept, descriptions, and relationships utilized for defining Ayurveda concepts. And yes, I would also like to speak about the drug model, because our team at NRCS is working to come up with the drug model for Ayurveda, and a few of the challenges that we have noted so far are having different dose forms. We had just the discussion in the morning. Various different dose forms are there, like the preparations used is ghee, oil, hema, kalk, and there are multiple forms of it. Then multiple synonyms which are used in different regional languages for the herbs and minerals. For example, guduchi, gulwel, amrita being used are same synonyms for this single herb. This was also one of the herb used as during COVID time, as kind of a preventive medicine which would boost your immunity. There was a morning discussion about some Chinese medicine used during COVID. It was similarly used in India as well. And medicine are dispensed in the form of pockets. We call it as puri, which comprise a combination of multi-ingredient formulations. So it's like combi pack, mixed and dispensed in a pocket. So some examples out there, and there is no concept of generic medicine. It's always a personalized medicine created, prepared based on your age, height, weight, gender, and other parameters. And the same medicines can be used as formulation as well as the ingredients. So we have a challenge out there also in terms of modeling. And one medicine with the same dose form has multiple route of administration. So route of administration has also to be considered as one of the attribute while modeling this Ayurveda drugs particularly. And then many minerals are used as medicine after their purification and converting them into kind of bhasma or nanoparticles. So how do we model them? We have a question. And then we have more than 20 to 25 ingredients which with no information or distinction on active ingredients, the way we have in contemporary medicine. So really it requires domain knowledge and expertise to decide on to which are active ingredients. So these are few of the challenges noted out there. And we are looking after the drug model development. We're trying to do some level of modeling within spreadsheets to start with. It's the primary work that we are trying to do. And just one single ingredient medicinal product would look like this, where you will say that it's a traditional Ayurveda medicinal product. Then it's a product containing ajmod, which is ajwain, and product containing ajmol in arka dose form. And then possibly we will also have to add a reference because in Ayurveda we have 3 foundational books where the various preparations are mentioned. And every foundation book may have overlap. The same name may have different active ingredients, which is, and also the different dose forms. So there is this problem of uniquely identifying which foundational book you are referring to. So possibly a reference also has to be added as one of the attribute in modeling. So we're just trying to look at that aspect also, which will be the last format of Ayurveda drug. And we are also, at NRCS, we are also involved in other standardization efforts, indirectly and directly at few places. So we are also representing at Bureau of Indian Standard. It's the body represents ISO from India in MHD 17 WG6 and ISO TC 215 WG10, where we have few standards being proposed for traditional medicine, particularly focusing on Ayurveda. 2 of them are already published. One is in DTR stage and one is as a new work item proposal. The work from the Central Council for Research from different traditional medicines have also been involved for developing ICD-11 TM2. This is going to be released in January 2025, and it does, the scope is to kind of collect report on traditional medicine conditions in a standardized format for Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani systems of medicine. This is how the content look like. They start with SN as a prefix code, and they cover term ID, English term, their description, IAST term, and a Sanskrit term together, and certain defining attributes. So one example shown here for the con is provided. And I think that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Manisha. And that brings us to the discussion part of our event. I would like to invite Manisha and Yong to take the podium. And those online, we also have our speakers online, Professor Lee, as well as Taylor Yan. So we are able to have an extended discussion on all the topics covered today, both early in the morning as well as in the latter part. So please, anybody in the audience has any questions, over to you, Dr. Gong.
Thank you. Very impressive work. I have a question. This is more for discussion among all of the speakers. So when we develop this, develop the content, it's not like SNOMED. We have long-term accumulation, so we have existing thing. But when you develop something new, we can. Where do you think the best source is of the content. If we are like doctors sit down and we together write down something, that's one way. But we use like a textbook or other things, another documents, articles, or we use the clinical data existing. So which do you think is the better way to generate the content?
I think most important would be to get experts who are in the field to begin the content development. And of course, there is need of having an overlap of understanding of informatics along with the traditional medicine. That's what I think we also faced. We had to had multiple workshops in order to make the team understand what we are trying to do and how the ontology has to be built. And then there are do's and don'ts of it, because they do have, the domain experts do have expertise in the area, but there is this issue of interoperability between the informatics and the domain. So that is, I think, important challenge that needs to be taken care of. Second is, there are already initiatives in India. We have the Namaste portal. Dr. Kumar has talked about it in the morning, where they did codification of Ayush disorders, symptoms, and the team who was involved in the codification of the Namaste portal itself was also involved in this work. So there is a continuity of understanding, and so much of existing work was also utilized. So I think that was a good start for us to take up the work. But of course, I think there is a need of looking at different ontology development tools to work upon, which my team is currently trying to do it. But Yong, I think this is a forum where we would also, I don't know, but I think others in the forum would also agree to have maybe a hands-on workshop to develop a sub-ontology, take few concepts, take few of the attributes and try to map them and try to create a sub-ontology, some kind of hands-on, where informatics experts can also be there and the domain experts can also be there, which will bridge the gap of understanding. I think that's what I would also request for. Yong.
Okay, transfer the question. We at SNOMED International, we have done quite a lot of work to look at how to organize the content. For example, RefSet is one way easier for people just get the content to say this is the content we're interested as a set and to be used straight away. Because you have the entire SNOMED city available to you. And also some people prefer in the kind to get like in particular for traditional medicine, this is area just unique. They want the terminology just designed for this practice rather than there are many content there are not relevant. In this way, we have the tooling developed for example, sub-ontology tooling. You can extract the content you're interested and create as a terminology, exactly keep all the content definition, not only just the term and the concept ID. Yes, there's still a lot of work on how to develop the concept model, as Menchong mentioned in the morning. And they ask expert to look at what characteristic should be used for those knowledge graph and how this should be linked to each other. And similarly for the medicinal product, I think in particular for traditional medicine medicinal product, it's quite complex. And one type, let's in a simple way to say, is kind of for a normal product packed by manufacturer. This is one way, so they have this specific fixed component. And another approach is because a clinician can prescribe individual substance, the herb, and mineral as to compose a prescription. So those are quite flexible, and how to capture those information. So there's maybe even more. So this has become a kind of challenge for the concept model. And at least to my, I involved in the medicinal product modeling design. So I look at the SNOMED city concept model and then look at the requirement from traditional medicine. There's still a gap. We look at how to really represent those information for traditional medicine product. So that's a challenge, yeah. And yes, we can try to collaborate and to have some sessions arranged to look at the how to do the sub-ontology, how to develop the model as a kind of collaboration, yeah.
Thank you very much. I think I just want to add a point to that. I think the important thing we consider when we organize this is how can we implement that in the future. I mean, if we are using knowledge from a single group of experts, and when you go to the hospital, go to the real world, probably you're going to meet a lot of problems, like what we did in my talk. So thank you for that.
No, I think there is a need to have a looped feedback, which should go back. So for instance, what we did is when we developed reference sets, we looked at certain standard treatment guidelines for certain diseases which were there in India. And we tried to pick those areas and created reference set. But creating reference sets with certain set of members is still okay. But we did a complete, we did take a feedback from 2-3 major institutions, like we have AIIMS New Delhi in India, to get a feedback on whether this is complete, whether anything is missing. So we did had a looped feedback form, and based on the feedback received, we did update it. And I think that's a continuous process. You have to do that regularly. So the current Ayush extension, although is not yet available in production, but we're trying to see if we can integrate in the current work that is happening for Ayush HMIS development. And we're trying to see if we can integrate FHIR as a data exchange standard on it, and then try to see if we can utilize SNOMED City at certain places if possible. So that's still in, I would say, R&D phase. We are yet to go long way.
Hi, I'm Hyunhye Park from South Korea. I would like to congratulate your leadership for organizing this is such a wonderful session. And I also would like to congratulate all the presenters. This is a wonderful session. So I have a couple of questions. So by listening all these presentations coming from different parts of the world, I see some commonalities and I also see some uniqueness, So I really would like to, especially in terms of a structure, I think we could identify some commonalities. So under your leadership, maybe, not only focus some unique part, but just focus on the common structure. So add that structure as soon as possible so that we can add some content to that structure and worry about the uniqueness, later. So it would be really nice to just try to identify what is the common element in terms of structure. And another question to you, Yong, and so we have access to international edition through authoring platform. So if we would like to add or author any concept, to the traditional sub-ontology, would it be possible for us to have any access to traditional medicine sub-ontology in the near future?
Yeah, thanks, Professor Park. Yes, I agree. And because this is why we have this meeting, I think, is to understand the current development in different countries and try to identify the common theme and the area people are working on, and to see how to collaborate together. And in particular, because SNOMED City is a kind of ontological approach. We want to be principled, and so therefore the content, where to put it, becomes the first decision. Not exactly which exact content, actually in principle, what type of content you want to put into SNOMED city where it is. So we would need that as a first step. And of course, second question is about the tooling. Currently, we publish that in the community area. So even you can see it in the sub-ontology or the community browser, but actually you're still not officially published in a way, because when we say officially published, there's effective time and the version control, everything in it, and also as a package. And that has not been published in this way yet. So we will work on that and with technical team to look at how the national extension can actually access those and to build from there. Because, for example, you want to add a new pattern diagnosis, and you can access that sub-hierarchy and to put your additional patterns in that same hierarchy. Yeah.
We have a question online. So in relation to traditional medicine, is there any standard operating procedure document for selection of terms or translation methodology or mapping with SNOMED CT terms or review methodology that may have been used in various countries? Perhaps this is an opportunity to invite our online participants. May I offer the opportunity to Professor Lee to provide some comments how that has been done in the TCM work that you undertook? You may need to unmute yourself. Professor Lee, are you able to hear us?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Oh, yes, great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, that's great. So I'll repeat the question. We have it online. So for the traditional medicine, is there any standard operating procedure document for selecting the terms or translation methodology or mapping with the SNOMED CT terms or reviewing the methodology that you may have used in your work that you were developing for TCM in this particular instance?
Yes, we developed our TCM clinical terminology systems. We will try to use the standard developed by ISO, and the methodology may be similar to SNOMED CT. We think if SNOMED CT is used in the future, maybe in China, the TCM terminology system can be used with the same methodology together.
Thank you very much. Taylor Yin, would you like to add any comments from your perspective?
As of now, I think we don't really adopt SNOMED CT in our current system. But then I think our colleague actually participated previously when SNOMED CT developed the whole structure for Chinese medicines per se. So I would say that it should be a standard operating document that is guiding the general methodology per se, and that can be applied across the other traditional medicines. But the biggest challenges that I foresee right now is like it referring to the type of traditional medicines that you are referring to. So for traditional medicines that is more established, meaning it's like you have a very clear philosophy and structurals that will be actually more straightforward. Because you already have the proper structure and classification available. It's just like how you fit into the SNOMED CT structures. But majority of traditional medicines that we are facing right now is actually more referring to those like native medicines, whereby they don't really have a proper documentations available as compared with Chinese medicines or Indian medicines, let's say. So this will be a bit tricky in terms of how to address it. per se, or and then maybe it would be good. It would be good if from SNOMED city perspective, you can come up with a guidance on how to corroborate specific of those kind of traditional medicines, because at the end of the day, we need data, either to regulate or either to ensure quality and safety. So there's a huge amount of traditional medicines that actually belongs to that category. Thank you very much.
Very much. Manisha, would you like to add your comment?
Yes. Yes. So we have utilized a lot of tools from SNOMED International for this work. We did use the reference set management and translation system, which is available online for, I think, all the members and everyone around who want to create reference sets. So we did create 3 language reference sets for Siddha, Unani, and Ayurveda. Apart from that, we used other services like classifier and release management framework to create our extensions and make them available in production with all the effective time and other information through MLDS. And then there are standard documents out there which are published on Confluence, which has the guideline on creating translations, doing translations, creating extensions. They're very helpful to start with for the translation work and the mapping work. And we do expect similar kind of a document for the subontology development also coming in future. Yes.
Great, thank you. We have an interesting question online. So can anyone comment on efforts done to increase participation or awareness of stakeholders like traditional medicine doctors, policymakers, pharmaceutical industry or researchers, as well as any comment on long-term sustainable effort in area of traditional medicine and SNOMED in conjunction? So in no particular order, would you like to comment on that? Young, would you like to provide some comment?
This is a very challenging, high-level policy related. I think it's different countries have different healthcare system and how they operate, and for the traditional medicine in different countries could be part of like a public service, and it could be the private service. So there, like Malaysia mentioned, there's a different kind of approach. I'm not sure we are in the position to answer how the traditional medicine sustainable development, but at least we look at the terminology development as an organization, what we're doing, and we would look at it as a collaboration with different countries, because that is really where the requirement come from, and we work together, develop those content actually fit for purpose to serve our member countries, and in particular can share those results to different countries. So that's what I see the sustainable to work on the traditional medicine terminology and the standard development, like a collaboration.
Panelists online, would you like to comment your perspective on this question?
Maybe I can share something. Okay, I mean, this is a very common questions that we receive, especially in terms of how we can foster collaborations between different stakeholders. At the end of the day, we want something that is usable, and then we don't want something that just look nice, and then at the end of the day, it's not that practical, because it requires a lot of efforts when come to implementations. So what we notice is that we need to find ways to address to the concerns by different stakeholders, meaning the use cases, what kind of data that they need, and how the system or the terminology system, I mean, whether it's a SNOMED or the other system, can address the concern. And then with the current technology available, and then also AI, I think we can utilize technology to solve a lot of issues. And if they we're able to provide the data and the data, I mean the solutions to them in long term, they will actually going to, I mean, we can foster the collaboration in a sustainable way, because And what I also noticed is like we should start off with something simple. We should start off with something simple, and then we improve along the way. Because by using it, then you will know the gaps where it is, and then it will actually further refine the system along the way, rather than we are aiming for something very sophisticated in the beginning, whereby it provides a lot of hurdles in terms of implementations, and then maybe it may not be the best in terms of implementations because it requires a lot of resources and investment of time and manpower to actually get the ball rolling in the first place.
Thank you, Teleyin. Professor Park, over to you.
Yes, yes. I'm not a Korean traditional doctor, but I'm speaking this on behalf of Korean traditional medicine community because I have been involved with them as a consultant. So the model they have in Korea is that they developed clinical practice guideline. Okay, that was their first, achievement. And then from there, they extracted terms, and they are going to use this clinical practice guideline for their EMR development. So I think this is a very clever model, rather than collecting terms from the, outside or somewhere. So they have this very well-defined knowledge source. And then they, have a set of terms coming from that well-defined knowledge. And so this is going to be used directly when they develop the EMR, because that's going to be used as a decision support system. So I'm just introducing their model to the community.
That's great, thank you. What other questions are there in the audience that you'd like to discuss? My question would be, it seems there's a lot of interest, a lot of effort that goes on in various countries. And from international perspective, my question would be, how can we best support that effort in terms of providing some sort of either forum or a platform for further discussions to go beyond this meeting, which is our inaugural meeting. That's the first ever. So to continue with that, any suggestions you may have either today or later on, we're really open to you coming forward.
Come to China.
One, I have already requested for a hands-on workshop on subontology development.
Well noted, thank you.
Sorry for that, but I think just as I have discussed in the Q&A session, I think traditional medicine is very deeply culture related, and to understand what's going on and the thinkings behind the standards, attributes, design, and ontological model, learning about the culture is really important. But of course, from other people, for people from other countries, other languages, it would be difficult. But at least going there and see the real world settings would definitely help us to understand each other and build up interoperability. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That brings us to conclusion of our allocated time for this discussion. I think we could go beyond, but thank you all panelists, all the participants, participants online. Thank you for joining our first ever Traditional Medicine Symposium, and your efforts and support will be appreciated moving forward. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the event.